Noisy Pixel. The survival horror genre has seen a steady increase in popularity over the years, but I think indie developers are the driving force of this sudden upshift in new fans. Remothered Tormented Fathers took me by surprise in 2018, which left me excited to continue the dark adventure in Remothered Broken Porcelain. However, as beautiful as this follow-up experience is, you'll find very little substance after the opening act.
Other girls similar to you ended up straight in juvie. Did you know that?
Remothered Broken Porcelain is technically a standalone game in the series, but whichever order you play them in, they are both needed to understand the timeline of events. The game takes place at the Ashman Inn, a dark and moody building where a few maids have been hired to keep the place orderly, one of whom is Jennifer Felton. Jennifer is a confused girl who doesn't mind getting in a little bit of trouble, especially if you're her friend. However, she has found herself in a weird position as the inn houses some supernatural elements that turn the other workers into zombie-like creatures. The narrative does all it can to make you feel connected to these characters, but the pacing here is all over the place. You are hand-fed these enormous plot points from the very beginning, and then from then on, you're just supposed to feel attached to not only Jennifer, but her relationship with the others in the inn. The story likes to jump around time, but I feel like this is a huge mistake given that some information would have made the first hour so much more impactful. If that wasn't enough, there are times when the scenes would jump from one area to the next without explanation, but this could have very well been attributed to a bug. Speaking of bugs, I should just come out and say it. There are a lot. Before launch, the developer made their release date sooner to avoid late October releases, but I feel this was a huge mistake. I waited a few days after launch for patches to release, to at least be able to beat the game. Still, I encountered many soft locking moments and other glitches that just shouldn't be there after a game's launch. Thankfully, I didn't have it as bad as some who played through it on launch day, but even now the developer is scrambling to patch these issues. Still, gameplay elements are just as broken here. You can explore the inn and pick up items. While it's possible to craft items, I saw no real difference in crafted items versus normal items when it comes to how they affected enemies. You do have access to melee weapons, but I honestly could never use them unless I was caught and completed a QuickTime event that was the same every time. However, there is also a boss that if you do manage to strike him with a QuickTime event, he will disappear, and you will need to reload the autosave from the start menu because he won't be coming back. Exploration is somewhat robust. Everything can be looked through from the drawers to cabinets, which is always a decent way to spend your time if you're looking for collectibles. Players can also find these moth keys that can be used to level up Jennifer's stats, which probably shouldn't have been in the game, but it is, so you can use it. The thing is, everything here is scripted. You're basically only doing what is required to progress, so if you have 3 enemies chasing you but trigger an event that they aren't in, well, they won't be there when the event ends. Things like this just stack up throughout the entire nightmare, and you'll soon be taking advantage of them because sometimes it's the only way to get through an area. There is a stealth mechanic, but crouching is a chore, and the whole system just feels broken. I felt like I was playing the game wrong because I would just be standing somewhere and get spotted. There's also this moth power that is a bit ridiculous and used in a couple of scenes, but I don't even want to talk about it because it was just the worst thing in the world to control and understand. Remothered Broken Porcelain fails on the fronts of pacing as you grab on for dear life to try to make sense of it all. It's impossible to care about these characters and you don't believe in their relationships with each other or their resolve. The entire game can be completed in 5 hours, which isn't bad for a survival horror experience, but thinking back of it all, I got nothing from it but a few headaches. The biggest downfall of this game is how it failed to do anything of note within this world. You have this beautiful area, amazing graphics, awesome supernatural foundation, and brilliant voiceover, so how did it get this bad? There's no tension built up because you're basically on rails the entire time. There's no puzzles, no sense of accomplishment, and no suspense. The only thing here is the atmosphere, which doesn't even matter because after you realize that nothing will come out of it, it's over. My experience with Remothered Broken Porcelain was brought to a halt several times after I had to restart my game and figure out a way to progress without soft locking it. On the surface, this is a beautiful, moody horror adventure, but once you look deeper, you'll see that the real horror is the game's mechanics, pacing, and plot. I had such high hopes for this game, but after a few hours, I was looking to check out of the Ashman Inn early. Noisy Pixel is giving Remothered Broken Porcelain a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review on noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.